Back with another 2019 college football team preview and prediction. We're doing a whole series of these videos. I don't even know how many we've done now, 12 or 13, whatever it is. We're doing these videos all the way up to the start of the season. So we got time, we're going to get 40 or 50 of these things done. I hope you guys have been enjoying this series. Today we're moving on to the ACC. Done a couple of ACC teams already, right? We've done Florida State and Virginia. There's a playlist that has all my preview and predictions for this year in there. If you want to check out any of the ones you might have missed, you can just find that playlist, click on it, it'll run through the videos for you. But anyway, another ACC team up today, and guess who it is? Everyone's favorite potato or potato? Some people say potato, some people say potato, some people say Clemson Tigers. Hey, good morning, Internet. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on LouTube today. Whee! Yeah, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also. And in addition to all of that as well, subscribe to this channel if you're not already. I post college football videos almost every single day of the year, and sometimes they're even watchable. And these preview and prediction videos have proven to be pretty watchable. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel and watching these videos. Please continue to thumbs up the video, share them somewhere. It really helps me out a lot. We're almost at 20,000 subscribers. We're going to hit it about a month early. Seems like we hit the goal about a month early last year too, the heading up to the season goal. So big shout out to all you guys who have helped me out with the thumbs up and sharing the videos on Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. You have no idea how much that really helps. I really do appreciate it. But time for another preview today. We're going to do the Clemson Tigers in that. Yeah. Doesn't take long to recap Clemson from last year. 12-0 in the regular season. Won the ACC championship game in a game that you didn't even need to watch. You knew what was going to happen. They played a 500 Pitt team, or 7-5, whatever they were. Steamrolled Notre Dame in round one of the playoffs, and absolute beatdown of Alabama in the national title game, beating the Gumps 44-16 to finish the season 15-0. First college football team in the playoff era to go 15-0. Of course, back in BCS days, you played 14 games, so you did have some 14-0 teams. Clemson becomes the first team in the playoff era to get a perfect season at 15-0. Can they repeat it in 2019? Of course they can. I mean, if you don't think Clemson is an absolute contender to win the national title again, then you're either just a blind hater or you're completely football ignorant. We're going to do what we always do and talk about who they lost and who's coming back and all that. But listen, what Clemson has going on right now is not a 1 or 2 year deal, okay? They're not going anywhere for the foreseeable future. I mean, they've been the best team in football over the last 3 seasons, better than Alabama. And it's been a long time since anybody could say that, right? There's been seasons where a team was better than Alabama, but over any 3-year period, going back 10, 11 years, Alabama was the best team over any 3-year period. Not the case right now. Clemson is on top of the college football world when you talk about the last 3 seasons. They've made the playoffs 4 straight years, right? Yes. 2 national championships in the last 3 years. 4 ACC titles in a row. They have won 58 of their last 62 games. Just unbelievable. 58-4 in their last 62 games. Dabo Swinney in his 11th season. Going to get a lot of comments every time I talk about Clemson. Clemson doesn't play anybody. The ACC is terrible. Yada, yada. Hey, I agree with you. The ACC in general was really, really bad last year and has had some really, really bad years over the last few years. I don't care who you play. It's hard to go 12-0. Period. It is extremely hard to go 12-0, and that's why you don't see very many teams do it. We had Clemson and Alabama show up undefeated in the national championship game last year. That's the first time that's happened since the playoffs started. Almost every team in college football, including Clemson, loses at least 1 game a year to somebody they're not supposed to lose to, usually. That goes for the best of the best teams, your Clemsons, your Alabamas. That goes for teams like NC State and Duke, right? 5, 6, 7 win teams. Almost every team wins or loses a game or two you don't expect them to lose, And almost every team wins a game or two. Maybe you don't expect them to win. Tennessee beat Auburn last year. Tennessee beat Kentucky last year. That was a surprise that they won, right? Turn around, lose to Vandy. So they did both in the same season. And that's not trashing Tennessee. I could use any team as an example. It happens all the time. So I don't think you can just automatically assume that because Clemson is clearly the best team in the ACC, that they're automatically going 12-0. They'll be favored in every single game, without question. And no one will be surprised if they go 12-0. But I don't think you can just close your eyes and wake up in December and, be 100% confident that they're going to be 12-0. But let's look at what they got here. All right. Of course, everybody knows they lose a ton of talent on defense, right? Wilkins, Farrell, Bryant, Lawrence. You lose a ton of talent on defense. Clemson rotates players in and out, though. Clemson, and this gets back to the point of sort of comparing them to Alabama, that, they're not a one-year good team. I mean, Clemson's reserves, Clemson's backups are ready to go. I mean, Clemson's backups would beat a lot of teams in America. I mean, they're absolutely loaded. So, yeah, it hurts to lose all that talent to the NFL, but it's not like the cupboard is bare at Clemson. Will Clemson's defense be as good in 2019 as it was in 2018? No, I don't think it will. Now, but it's not going to fall off the map. I mean, it's not like they're going to be Oklahoma or anything. Their defense is still going to be plenty good. Good enough to win the ACC, good enough to make the playoffs, good enough to win a national title. But I don't think, especially up front, it's going to be as dominant as it was last year. It's still going to be really, really good. So don't get mad at me, Clemson fans, okay? It's going to be okay, I promise. Now, that's sort of the bad news when you talk about who you're losing and all those defensive players, particularly the front seven. But if you want to talk about good news on offense, you lose almost nobody. You get Trevor Lawrence back in year 2. So we got to deal with this guy for 2 more years. He's the best quarterback in college football, period. And he ended last season, and he proved it in the national title game, the best quarterback in college football as a true freshman, Trevor Lawrence. Unbelievable to watch him play. It's just, he makes it look so easy. It's almost not even fair, right? Right. Wide receivers, 2 of the best wide receivers in all of college football. Justin Ross and T. Higgins. I mean, these people lit it up in the national title game. They were great all year. Justin Ross in particular played amazing in the playoffs. He was a true freshman. T. Higgins was a sophomore last year, so they're both back at the wide receiver. You lose Hunter Renfrow, and I know he was a fan favorite, and he was pretty good, but he way overachieved. He way overachieved. Okay, let's just be real. Clemson will not have any problem replacing someone like a Hunter Renfrow, at least not from a talent perspective. Now, as far as what he gave your team in terms of leadership maybe and stuff like that, okay, I'll be willing to listen to you there. And I like Hunter Renfrow. I'm not putting him down. What I'm saying is I don't think Clemson is all that concerned that they lost Hunter Renfrow. I think they've got plenty of pieces to plug and play there. Running back. Heisman contender running back Travis Etienne, right? Unbelievable. 8.1 yards per carry last year as a sophomore. 24 touchdowns. I have this conversation / argument with Georgia fans all the time. There's this perception out there that because Clemson has Trevor Lawrence, they're a throwing team. That's not the case. Now, Clemson is one of the best throwing teams in America when they need to be with Trevor Lawrence and those elite NFL wide receivers. They outrushed Georgia last year. Okay? So, yes, Clemson as a team outrushed Georgia. Georgia gets credit for being this great running team, which we are, and we rotate the backs in and out. I love our running game. But you look at Jake Fromm, he throws for 2,800 yards, and then Georgia fans say, well, yeah, but it's because we run the ball, Well, yeah, we run the ball, but look at what Clemson's doing. They've got an all-world talented quarterback in Trevor Lawrence with NFL wide receivers that they love to throw the ball to that are, 1,000 yards, 10, 15 touchdowns a year, and they're out-rushing Georgia. So Clemson is the benchmark. Clemson is the high water mark right now. That's what every team should be shooting for who has national title aspirations. What Clemson is doing right now is unbelievable. Offensive line, you get 3 back on your offensive line. So, however good Clemson's offense was last year on a scale of 1 to 10, add a couple of points. I mean, this is unbelievable here. This offense is going to be scary good. Scary good. Defense, I have some concerns about Clemson's defense. Again, not that their defense is going to be bad. It's going to be the best defense in the ACC, right? Virginia has a good defense too. Florida State has a talented defense, but their head coach doesn't know what he's doing, so I don't know. See what happens there. Miami's got a really good defense in the ACC. Clemson probably still has the best or second best defense in the ACC, but I do have a few concerns. One is defensive back. As well as Clemson has recruited over the last 3 or 4 years, why the hell are you moving a wide receiver to corner? And why is he most likely going to start for you at corner? Now, he may end up being really good. I don't know. I guess he's looked good in practice from what I read or whatever. But all these recruits you got coming in, and you end up having to move a wide receiver to corner, and he's going to start, especially after what I saw from Clemson's secondary last year. Torched a couple of times. Texas A&M, you easily could have lost that game on the road at Texas A&M last year. You won because of Kelly Bryant. Let's be real. Yeah, Kelly Bryant won you that game at Texas A&M. He's gone since talking about that. And then even the South Carolina game, and I get it. It was a blowout win. I'm not knocking you, but come on, 500-600 yards passing to Jake Bentley. Jake freaking Bentley. I mean, the dude usually got more interceptions than he does completions. That was hard to understand. So I've got some concerns about Clemson's defense, but not like Oklahoma concern. Like I say, your defense is still really good. When you're looking at a team, you always want to talk about strengths and weaknesses, right? Something on Clemson's defense is the weakest link. Doesn't mean it's weak in general, but like last year, your defensive line was your strength, right? Secondary was your weakness. It doesn't mean it was weak. It was just compared to you understand what I'm saying? What am I doing? Trying to explain something to a bunch of taters. Let's put the schedule up on the screen and go to it and see if there's any way possible Clemson can lose a game. All right. You start the season off, the Thursday night game, first ever game televised on the ACC network. Call your cable provider and cry. Tell them you need the ACC network immediately or sooner. Yeah, that's what you need to go ahead and do. But you host Georgia Tech, new coaching staff, and that's not just the issue. Transitioning from the triple option offense that Paul Johnson was running to a grown-up offense. Going to take more than 1 year to do that, in my opinion. I think this game gets ugly in a hurry. I think Clemson probably empties the bench in the second half, playing people that even Clemson fans have never heard of. Big win for you week 1. Week 2, probably your toughest game of the year. Let's just be real. The ACC is that bad. This is probably your toughest game of the year at home against Texas A&M. Obviously, if you're looking at Clemson's schedule for a loss, this is one of the choices. I don't see it at home. I just don't. I really like Kellen Mond. He's the most experienced quarterback in the SEC. They've got a bunch of really good wide receivers too. They need help on defense. I think that gets exposed on the road at Clemson in week 2. I give you a win there, although I don't think anybody would be all that surprised if this game was close, at least late into the game. So you're 2-0. Another big game here at Syracuse. Some people think this is your most difficult ACC game of the year, a revenge game from 2 seasons ago. In fact, if you look over the last 2 seasons, Clemson has played, or Syracuse has played Clemson the closest of any ACC team, right? Beating them 2 years ago at Syracuse and almost winning in Clemson last year. That was the game, if you guys remember, Kelly Bryant played the first 4 games, split time with Trevor Lawrence. Dabo announced Trevor Lawrence was going to be the starter in week 5, so Kelly Bryant said, well, I'm going to transfer then. I'm going to sit out the rest of the season. Trevor Lawrence goes out and gets hurt in the first half of that Syracuse game. The very next week, they bring a guy in, and hats off to him too, because Clemson did end up pulling that game out in the end. Running game kind of saved them there. But the point is, this has been your toughest ACC game over the last couple of years. They're not sneaking up on you this year, are they? I don't think so. College coaches will look for anything to motivate their team. Nick Saban is a master at this, right? I mean, Alabama is favored by 14 to 17 to 20 to 24 points against almost every single team they play every single week for the last 10 years. And Nick Saban finds a way to almost make the players feel like they're underdogs. Dabo will do this here for this Syracuse game. Clemson will be ready to go. This isn't like it was a couple of years ago where it was a weird Friday night game. Quarterback got hurt in that game too, Kelly Bryant. So the last 2 years have been weird quarterback situations for Clemson against Syracuse. I think you go on the road and handle Syracuse, even though I do think Syracuse is a really good team. Syracuse could be the second or third best team in the ACC, but they're just not in Clemson's stratosphere, 3-0. Charlotte, what are you doing? 4-0 at UNC. Mac Brown, first-year head coach. He's probably good for an extra win or two, but Clemson ain't going to be one of those 1 or 2. You'll win that one on the road at UNC. Takes you into your first bye week. You get 2 bye weeks this year. It's just the way the calendar falls. Not a change. Next year we'll be back to the 1 bye week. On the road at Louisville, they're one of the worst teams, not just in the ACC, but in the entire Power 5. Wholesale coaching changes, but that's not the issue. Their issue is talent. By that, I mean they don't have any. You'll roll big. Again, you'll empty your bench in the second half of that game. People will be playing that we've never heard of. Every white person on the team will get in. It'll be that bad. Then you come back home, play Boston College and Wofford. That's 2 wins. I like Boston College. They got some interesting pieces on offense. Can they hold Clemson under 40? Probably not. Clemson wins that game. Wofford, again, see the Charlotte comments. Different verse, same as the first. You're winning. On the road at NC State, this is a difficult game too, in comparison. I mean, obviously Clemson is the better team and favored. I think this is another game that people, if they're looking for a game for Clemson to slip up, I think this is probably one of the ones they're looking at. I think they would probably be looking at Texas A&M, Syracuse, NC State, South Carolina at the end of the year. I'm just kidding. But NC State, I don't see it. I think you go into NC State and win again. So you're still undefeated with 2 games to go. Home to Wake Forest. Listen, Wake Forest, Pitt, Boston College, Syracuse, both North Carolina schools, Duke. These are all the same team. They're all the same. These are all 5, 6, 7 win teams. Exactly the same with different helmets on. That's it. You're beating NC State on the road. You're beating Wake Forest at home. You get a bye week before you go to South Carolina and beat the absolute bejesus out of the Coots. South Carolina may be the best 6-win team in history this year. Their schedule is that bad. They got to play. They got to play you. They got to play Georgia. They got to play Alabama. That's the 1, 2, and 3 teams in America according to every preseason poll you look at. They got to play Florida, top 10 team. They got to play Kentucky, top 20 team. They got to play Tennessee, improving. They got to play Mizzou. I think Mizzou be dangerous this year with Kelly Bryant. Anyway, point is, South Carolina's schedule brutal, and this is going to be. I mean, they'll be on suicide watch by the time this game comes around. Anyway, God, it's going to be ugly, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So I have you at 12-0. Now, before anybody gets on to me in the comment section and say, "Well, this is a pointless video," anybody can make a video saying Clemson's going 12-0. I rarely pick anybody to go 12-0. I rarely pick a team to go 12-0. I think in the 3 or 4 years I've been doing these preseason prediction videos, I think maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 times total I've picked a team to go 12-0. I think I've only picked Alabama to go 12-0 twice, and I think I may have picked Clemson to go 12-0 last year. I can't remember if I put the thing up at the beginning of this video or not. If I didn't, I'll put it up now. So I just don't think they lose a game. Now, we'll see what happens in the ACC championship game against somebody like Virginia or Miami. Those would be my 2 picks to come out of that division. We'll see how that goes. And then, of course, once we get into the playoffs, that's impossible to prognosticate at this point because you just have no clue who they might be facing there. But I will say this. There's a lot of really good teams: Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Oregon, Washington, whatever other teams you want to name that either have a chance or think they have a chance of making it to the playoffs. If I had to put every dime I have, all my earthly possessions, if I had to bet it all on one team in all of college football in 2019 to make the playoffs, it would be Clemson. Clemson has built up enough clout and respect over the last 3 or 4 years that even if they drop one of the games on this schedule and win the ACC, they are 100% getting in without question. There is no question in my mind. I don't care how many undefeated or one-loss conference champions there are in other places. I don't care what people want to say about 2 teams from the SEC. Clemson has built up the respect and the clout they can afford to drop one of these games, even if it's to a bad team. So 11-1 and win the ACC, they would still get in, but I think they're going to go 12-0 and then 13-0. I don't think there's anybody in that other division that's anywhere close to Clemson right now. So if I had to put it all on one team to at least make the playoffs, it would be Clemson. Now, once we get there, we'll see what happens. But anyway, that's it for the Taters. I appreciate you guys watching, and have a great morning.